stopped holding my hand in the middle of the night. Said nothing was wrong, but it didn't feel right. Your smile felt bold, your eyes looked away. I was still choosing us, you were halfway gone already. I memorized the sound of your closing door. Every step you took hurt more than before. You said I'm tired, like love was a crime. I was running toward you, you were running out of time. I tried to be calm, tried not to break, but my heart knew the truth you were too scared to say. I fell in love while you were leaving, built my forever while you let go. I was holding tighter, still believing you were already learning how to be alone. I gave you my heart without a reason, you gave me goodbye without a sound. I fell in love while you were leaving, and I was the last one to find out. You stopped saying my name like it meant something real. Your touch felt empty, like a promise you couldn't feel. I blame myself for the distance you made, like love was a test I was failing every day. We talked about dreams you no longer had. I held on to memories you wished you never kept. You looked at me like a habit, not home, like staying with me was something you'd outgrown. I kept fixing cracks you didn't see, you were already free. I was still begging you to stay with me. I fell in love while you were leaving, built my forever while you let go. I was holding tighter, still believing you were already learning how to be alone. I gave you my heart without a reason, you gave me goodbye without a sound. I fell in love while you were leaving, and I was the last one to find out. If love is a war, I fought it alone. You laid down your weapons and called it growth. I kept choosing us in every fight. You chose peace, just not by my side. Now I replay every "you will be fine," wondering when you stop being mine. I would have loved you through the end, but you ended us before I could understand. I fell in love while you were leaving, still said your name like a prayer. I was drowning deep in feeling, you were breathing easy, already elsewhere. I would have stayed through every season. You left before the cold came around. I fell in love while you were leaving, and you never turned around. Now I love you in silence, from a place you won't return. I fell in love while you were leaving. That's the hardest lesson I've learned. You stopped asking how my day had been. Your laughter didn't sound the same. I noticed space between your words, like you were slowly pulling away. You held my hand, but not my heart. Your eyes were somewhere else again. I was standing right beside you, but I felt like the end had already begun. Every silence spoke too loud, every touch felt halfway gone. You were here, but you were leaving long before you moved on. I felt the goodbye before it came, in the way you said my name, in the nights you turned away, and the love you couldn't stay. I felt the goodbye in every tear. I cried alone while you were near. You were already letting go before I knew I was alone. You smiled like you were trying hard, but love shouldn't feel like that. You promised me forever, but forever started to crack. I replayed every I love you, trying to find where it broke. You didn't leave with your footsteps, you left with the hope I held the most. You stopped fighting for us, stopped choosing me at all. I was still holding the pieces while you let the whole thing fall. I felt the goodbye before it came, in the way we lost our flame, in the words you didn't say, and the nights you slipped away. I felt the goodbye in every sigh, every almost every lie. You were already moving on while I was holding on too strong. If love is supposed to feel like home, why did I feel so alone with you? I stayed when I felt you drifting, still hoping you'd choose the truth. I would have stayed through the storm if you had just tried to stay too. But you left me without leaving, and that hurt the most to do. I felt the goodbye before it came, before the tears, before the pain, before you said it was over, before you spoke my heart away. I felt the goodbye in my chest when loving you hurt more than the rest. You didn't break me when you left, you broke me when you slowly left. So here I stand with what remains of a love I tried to save. I felt the goodbye before it came, and it still hurts the same. The nights got longer when you weren't near. Your voice felt close, but you disappeared. I counted hours on a glowing screen, trying to feel what we used to be. I learned your smile through a frozen frame. Heard your I miss you sound like rain. Every promise crossed an ocean wide, but I slept alone on my side. You said love survives if it's real, so I held on to what I could feel. I loved you through the distance, through the silence in between, through the days you were too busy to remember me. I love you through the distance, when your heart was drifting free. I stayed right where you left me, while you slowly stopped choosing me. Time zone stole our goodnight calls. Your I'm tired became my walls. I smiled when you said we're okay, even when you fade away. I saved our photos like proof we tried, like love could live if I denied every. The nights got longer when you weren't near. Your voice felt close, but you disappeared. I counted hours on a glowing screen, trying to feel what we used to be. I learned your smile through a frozen frame. Heard your I miss you sound like rain. Every promise crossed an ocean wide, but I slept alone on my side. You said love survives if it's real, so I held on to what I could feel. I loved you through the distance, through the silence in between, through the days you were too busy to remember me. I loved you through the distance, when your heart was drifting free. I stayed right where you left me, while you slowly stopped choosing me. Time zone stole our goodnight calls. Your I'm tired became my walls. I smiled when you said we're okay, even when you faded away. I saved our photos like proof we tried, like love could live if I denied every mile made you less mine, but I kept crossing the line. You said forever like it was light. I carried it alone at night. distance, till I had nothing left, till my heart learned loneliness was loving you by myself. I loved you through the distance, now I'm learning how to breathe. I lost you to the miles, but I found what's left of me. Some love fades without a sound, mine broke across the miles we found. I loved you through the distance, even when you weren't loving me. I remember the way we used to talk, like the world was quiet when you said my name. You promised me forever softly, like it was something you could keep the same. I held on to every little reason, even when your heart began to drift. You were already somewhere else, while I was praying we'd still exist. I felt the distance in your silence, in the way your eyes looked through. You stopped fighting for the fire, but I was still fighting for you. I stayed where you didn't, I believed when you quit. I loved you in pieces, you walked away bit by bit. I waited in the places where your heart used to live. You left without looking back. I stayed where you didn't. I kept your side of every promise, carried the weight you let fall. I made excuses for your absence, like I wasn't breaking at all. You called it finding yourself, I called it losing my home. You found your freedom in leaving, I found the pain on my own. I read between the empty moments, heard goodbye in what you said. You were already letting go, while I was holding on instead. I stayed where you didn't, I believed when you quit. I loved you in pieces, you walked away bit by bit. I waited in the places where your heart used to live. You left without looking back. I stayed where you didn't. I stayed through the doubts and the damage, through the nights you weren't there. I stayed when loving you hurt me. You left when love needed care. Now I'm standing in memories that don't recognize me anymore. You closed the door without shaking, I'm still here on the floor. I stayed where you didn't, I held on too long. I turned your excuses into the words of our song. I waited for you you'd come back and admit that I was worth staying for. But I stayed where you didn't. Now I'm learning to walk away slowly from the love I refuse to release. You didn't choose us, you chose distance, so I'll choose myself and leave. But part of me will always remember the truth I couldn't forget. You moved on without looking back. I stayed where you didn't. We used to talk like midnight never ends. Every silence felt like holding hands. But somewhere in your eyes I lost my place. You started leaving while I begged you to stay. I held your name like it was still my home. You held your distance like you learned to be alone. I kept fixing what you wouldn't find. Two hearts drifting in the same goodbye. I gave you all the pieces of my soul. You gave me reasons I'd never be enough. We loved in different directions. I ran to you, you ran away. I believed in forever. You believed in someday. I was building a future. You were packing your pain. We loved in different directions, and that's how we lost our way. You stopped asking how my heart survives. I stopped pretending I was still your life. Every promise fading into doubt. I felt the end before you said it out loud. You wanted freedom, I wanted us. I kept the faith, you lost the trust. I stayed when you were already gone, singing love in a different song. I was reaching for the words you never say. You were already learning how to walk away. We loved in different directions. I ran to you, you ran away. I believed in forever. You believed in someday. I was holding your hand. You were letting it slip. We loved in different directions, and I felt it with every missed kiss. Maybe love isn't always enough when two hearts want different things. I saw life when I saw your face. You saw a cage, I saw wings. I still choose you if I had the chance, even knowing how this ends. But loving you cost me myself, and I can't do that again. We loved in different directions, same road, opposite side. what went wrong. Tell it we tried, just not the same. We didn't stop loving each other, we just loved in different directions. We still said good morning, like it meant the same. Still laughed in the silence, still spoke your name. But your eyes were somewhere I couldn't go, like you were leaving long before I'd known. Shared the nights but not the truth, held on to habits not the youth. Every touch felt careful, slow, like love was fading soft and low. We didn't fight, we didn't fall, we just stopped hearing each other call. Colder than, like you were already someone else's friend. We talked about someday and plans, but never about where we stand. I stayed hoping you would return, while you were learning how not to hurt. You pulled away inch by inch, until distance felt like the truth. You stopped asking how I feel, and I stopped asking if this was real. We were ending without knowing, while pretending we were fine, smiling through the cracks that kept on growing, running out of borrowed time. I was loving, you were closing doors I didn't see before. We were ending without knowing that we'd already said goodbye. If I had known it was our last slow dance, I would have held you, taken the chance. Said the words I swallowed whole, instead of watching us let go. We didn't break, we just grew numb. Two hearts leaving, one by one. We were ending without knowing, while still calling it us. Every silence was a warning, but love kept blinding both of us. I was staying, you were going, different roads we couldn't see. We were ending without knowing, you were already free of me. Now I replay the moments, every sign we were saying goodbye in real time. We were ending without knowing, but my heart felt it every time. We built a home out of fragile days, promises whispered, then tucked away. You held my hand, but your eyes would roam, like your heart had already found another road. I felt the distance before you spoke. Every smile felt carefully broke. You said we're fine, but your voice was rust, breaking me slow without the trust. I stayed when loving started to hurt. You drifted first, I stayed and learned. You left me in the middle of us, half of your love, half of your trust. One foot gone, one foot still here. I was holding on while you disappeared. You didn't leave, you just gave me less, enough to stay, not enough to confess. You walked away without goodbye and left me in the middle of us. I replay nights where you went quiet, your silence screaming, starting riots. I begged your heart without a sound, while you were slowly backing down. Your words were kind, but your soul was gone. I was still fighting, you moved on. I love the us you couldn't be, while you were learning how to leave me. I stayed, believing love was enough. You stayed just long enough to give up. You left me in the middle of us, half of your love, half of your trust. One foot gone, one foot still here. I was holding on while you disappeared. You didn't leave, you just gave me less, enough to stay, not enough to confess. You walked away without goodbye and left me in the middle of us. I would have survived if you let me go, but you stayed halfway, breaking me slow. You kept my heart on borrowed time, while yours was already saying goodbye. I was loving for the both of us, praying you'd choose what you already lost. Oh, you left me in the middle of us, where love still bleeds, but hope turns dust. I'm standing still in what we were, while you don't look back anymore. You didn't leave all at once, you faded out and called it love. Now I'm learning how to move on from the place where you left me alone. I found myself in the wreckage of we, letting go of who you weren't with me. You left, and now I'm finally free. I felt the distance in the way you breathed, like every word was leaving carefully. You smiled but it didn't reach your eyes. You stayed, but part of you had already said goodbye. We talked like strangers in a borrowed room, counting seconds, calling it just a phase. I kept believing love would find its way, while you were slowly learning how to walk away. I held on tighter when you pulled back slow. I fought the silence, but I didn't know. You started letting go first. I stayed too long. You learned how to forget while I was holding on. I was still choosing us in every fight. You were already gone before the last goodnight. I broke my heart trying to love you more, but you started letting go first, long before. Your I love you sounded softer every day, like a promise you were scared to say. You stopped asking how I was inside. I stopped asking why you changed your mind. I blame myself for things you never said. Carry the weight of words you left unsaid. You found your peace in learning how to leave. I found my pain in still believing. I felt the ending in the way you'd close your eyes, like you were already dreaming of another life. You started letting go first. I stayed too long. You turned my love into a sad goodbye song. I was still fighting for what we were. You already sure it wouldn't work. I broke my heart trying to love you more, but you started letting go first, long before. Maybe love didn't die all at once. Maybe it faded when you stopped trying. I kept rebuilding what you let fall. I kept believing while you were quietly denying. I wish you told me when you knew, instead of letting me love you through the truth. You started letting go first. I see it now, in every memory, in every broken vow. I was holding hands with someone halfway gone, writing forever while you moved on. I'll heal from loving you this hard, I know, but you started letting go first. And I was the last to know. Loved you honestly, that part is true. Even when I was losing you. I felt the distance in the way you smiled, like you were somewhere else the whole damn time. Your eyes were tired of looking at mine. I was holding on, you were saying goodbye. You laughed a little, but it wasn't real. Your touch felt cold, like you couldn't feel. I kept believing love would pull you back while you were quietly unpacking us. I blame the silence, I blame the nights, I blame myself for losing the fight. But now I see what went so wrong. You stayed with me, but your heart was gone. Your heart was already gone. Even when you were lying next to me, I was loving you all alone, begging for something you couldn't be. You said my name, but it felt so wrong, like I was holding a memory. You didn't leave, but you moved on. Your heart was already gone from me. You stopped asking how my day had been. Stop letting me see your thoughts sink in. I memorized the cracks in your voice. Every part sounded like a choice. I tried harder, I tried to change. I wore your silence like my shame. But love don't fade overnight. It leaves in pieces little by. I felt the distance in the way you smiled, like you were somewhere else the whole damn time. Your eyes were tired of looking at mine. I was holding on, you were saying goodbye. You laughed a little, but it wasn't real. Your touch felt cold, like you couldn't feel. I kept believing love would pull you back while you were quietly unpacking us. I blame the silence, I blame the nights, I blame myself for losing the fight. But now I see what went so wrong. You stayed with me, but your heart was gone. Your heart was already gone. Even when you were lying next to me, I was loving you all alone, begging for something you couldn't be. You said my name, but it felt so wrong, like I was holding a memory. You didn't leave, but you moved on. Your heart was already gone from me. You stopped asking how my day had been. Stop letting me see your thoughts sink in. I memorized the cracks in your voice. Every part sounded like a choice. I tried harder, I tried to change. I wore your silence like my shame. But love don't fade overnight. It leaves in pieces little by little inside. I fought for us, you fought the truth that you were done, but stay confused. I held on strong, you held on long, but deep inside your heart was gone. Your heart was already gone. Even when you said watching me fight for what we had, while you were already too far away. Your heart was already gone. I just didn't wanna believe. I was holding on to love while you were setting yourself free. You stayed too long, I stayed too strong. Now all that's left is the truth in me. You didn't leave, but you moved on. Your heart was already gone. Now I hear it clear in every song. I wasn't wrong, just holding on to someone who was already gone. You used to call me just to breathe. Now the phone don't ring at all. I still wait like something's coming, but nothing answers when I call. Your smile left the room so slowly. I didn't hear the door slam shut. I stayed where love was dying, still believing in us. Every word you didn't say stayed with me instead. The quiet started knowing me better than your hands. Your silence learned my name, said it every night. When you stopped explaining why you stopped the fight, I talked to empty spaces where your voice once stayed. Your silence learned my name and called me by my pain. We stopped fixing what was breaking, started acting like we're fine. You were already somewhere else while I was still trying. I noticed love was fading in the way you broke away. You didn't leave all at once, you just disappeared each day. I begged with all my heart, but you heard nothing there. The distance grew so close, I felt it everywhere. Your silence learned my name, whispered it in tears, told me all the truths you avoided for years. I waited for an answer, but none of them came. Your silence learned my name and forgot me the same. I'd rather hear goodbye than never hear a sound. You turn love into a ghost that still walks around. If silence is your choice, then mine is letting go. But leaving hurts the most when you never say so. Your silence learned my name, etched it in goodbye. Love me in the quiet, and left me asking why. I held on to the echoes while you walked away. Your silence learned my name yourself in the words you couldn't say. Your silence learned my name, and I finally